not cutting, but untying. And so the universe then has no choice. First attribute of the secret place. The secret place is a place of revelation. It makes you free because it awakens you and makes you consciously aware that everything that you thought was holding you is an illusion. And good evening to all of you. Thank you for tuning in to Momentum. You have just tuned into the most powerful place on the planet because you've tuned into the place where you can receive the kind of insight, revelation, teaching, and instruction and inspiration that will help you to curate and to create the best life that you can possibly, and that you can live your best life and be the highest version of yourself. We are the Emerge movement. We're empowering people on their journey towards spiritual wholeness, and we are so glad that you have decided to join us for this conversation tonight as we continue to move forward and unlock and uncover and reveal all of the hidden treasures and secrets that are stored within our divinity, our spirit, that are trying to make their way into our conscious mind so that we can live them out and begin to experience and express our greatest experience in this three-dimensional earth. So glad that you decided to join us this evening for this conversation. Listen, do this for me as I ask you every time at the beginning and very top of this broadcast. Take a moment and share the broadcast on your page right now. Go ahead and do it real quickly. And then when you've shared it, just indicate it in the comments by saying done or shared. Let me know that you've already shared it. And why? And those of you who are on YouTube, remember that when you hit the share button, you're going to copy the link, and then you can just send the link out to as many people as you have listed in your phone. Send a text message out to all of them so that they'll be able to tune in right now and participate in this conversation. And while you're sharing, if you should happen to think of any person that you think would really benefit from being a part of the conversation, go ahead and tag them in the comments right now, because when you tag them, you alert them that we are here. And that way they can come over and join us in this conversation. As always, if you haven't done it already by now, you really need to sign up for our free text notification. This notification is an absolutely free service that allows you to always be aware when we're getting ready to come on and do a live conversation. All you have to do is text the word emerge to the number 833-444-0163. And you will automatically be enrolled in our free text notification. It is absolutely free, doesn't cost you not one nickel or dime. And you will always receive a text notification of when we're getting ready to come on there. And that way you don't miss not one conversation. And every now and then I'll also send out a word of inspiration or some other little jewel or nugget that I don't necessarily share live on the air, but something that I believe will empower you, inspire you, and that you will enjoy receiving. So go ahead and do that right now. If you have the opportunity to do so, text the word emerge to 833-444-0163. And you will always be notified for when we are coming on the air. Likewise, also, if you'd like to become or find out more information, rather, about the Emerge movement, you're saying, man, I've been hearing a little bit, but I don't really know what Emerge is. We'll encourage you to go over and visit our website. The address is on the screen. I'm sorry. That's the email address. The website address is on the screen, www.aimministriesinternational.org. That is aimministriesint.org. When you put in that website and go over to the address, you will get a lot of information about what the Emerge movement is all about. There's a lot of good information and insight about its founding, about its mission, its vision, and what we hold as our core beliefs and our values moving forward. And then after reading over it, if you decide that you would like to become a part of the movement, a partner in this great movement that is going to impact the entire world. We'd love to have you join forces with us. All you have to do is just send me a quick email to the email address that's on your screen right now, emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. And when you write your email, include 3 words: I want in. That's all you got to write. I want in. And the moment that I receive your email, I will send you out an information packet that gives you an even more detailed overview of what the Emerge movement is about and what partnership means. And then after reading over it and perusing the information, you simply sign the partner agreement and email it back to me. And right then you're in. That's all it takes. We are a virtual spiritual community, a ministry and movement without walls, if you will, that is open to everyone. So we're without barriers and without parameters as well. We don't care from what background you come from, what your race, your creed, your color, your sexual orientation. You are welcome in this movement because we are here to help you to connect with the God that is within you and begin to grow and to develop in your spiritual walk and discover your real identity as a divine, unique expression of God in this earth. So, again, we are so glad to have you here with us. Hope that you'll take advantage of all of that. All right. Let's get ready to have a conversation tonight. Or as my friend Larry Reed would say, let's have the conversation. Oh, my goodness. Good man there. I like Larry Reed. All right. So let's get into it tonight. What we are going to... Hello. I see all of you. I see you in the comments. See you. I see you. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for tagging. Thank you so much for letting other people know that we are on partners. Those of you who are partners on here, I need you to make sure you check your email. You know, that's one of the primary ways that we communicate with you. And we sent out the newsletter just about a week ago now. And so I need for you to go ahead and check your email so you can see our first edition of the newsletter that has been sent out. And then I've sent out a follow-up letter after that in preparation for the next newsletter. So make sure you check your email. And if you're not on our email list, then on the website, all you have to do is go down to the subscribe button and put in your email address and hit subscribe. You will automatically be enrolled and you will receive our quarterly newsletter as well as other insights and information about what the Emerge movement is all about. Just simply go to the website and sign up. All right. So again, let's get into the conversation. We have been talking about rediscovering your identity, and this is part 20. I know this has been a lengthy conversation, but it is. I know that it's also been empowering. It's been informative. It's been a good conversation, and we've got still a good little ways to go. We still have 2 more parts to this section that we are in right now before we will move on to something completely different. But we've been talking about rediscovering your identity, understanding who you really are, and that you are not some, accident, cosmic accident or coincidence taking up space, a collection of dust particles that formed a matterless event. But you are an intentional, unique being. You are the divine expression of God, uniquely experiencing itself, consciously aware of itself as being human. You are not a human being spiritual. You are a spirit consciously aware of itself being human. You are indeed God in the flesh, the manifestation of God, all that God is, manifested and uniquely expressed and experienced as you. And so that is your core spiritual identity. And what we have been discussing is the implications of what that absolutely means. That beyond your being boundless, timeless, endless, and eternal, that beyond your being omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniactive, that there are certain laws that govern your divinity. When I say govern your divinity, that is to say that they are encapsulated, or they are the vehicle through which your divinity is fully expressed in this 3-dimensional form. And so we have been looking at these four laws that are the four governing laws of divinity. And we are on law number 2. And tonight we're going to try and conclude with this one. And then in the next lesson or conversation on Sunday, we will move on to the third of the four governing laws of divinity. And we remember that the very first law is that your outer world of form and experience, come on, is a reflection of your inner world of thought and feeling. That's right. That we are constantly curating and creating our reality, that we are, because we are the offspring of God. All that God is in us, and all that is in us is God. And so because God is omniactive, then it means that we are omniactive as well. Omniactive meaning that God is constantly unfolding, revealing, and then creating and curating a reality, a lived experience for us as three-dimensional beings. And likewise, then, since that is God's essence, it is ours as well. That we are constantly unfolding, becoming, evolving, growing, developing, and that we are constantly in a state of creating. We are the Elohim. Yes, the Elohim, the creatorial force and power and energy of God, constantly in every eternal moment of now, creating the next moment that we will step into. That we are constantly creating with the energy that we generate from our thoughts, that inform our perception and perspective, that also inform our words, that give form and shape to our thoughts, to articulate what we are sensing, feeling, thinking, imagining, envisioning. And then with our corresponding actions that align themselves with the words that come from our mouth, that form the thought, word, deed process, which is the process by which we create. That is how we create. We conceive a particular idea, a concept, a vision, and imagination within our mind. And that informs our perception and our perspective. And then we begin to speak those things that are in alignment with what we are thinking and what we have created from the energy or the anointing, if you will, from our mind. And those words are both spirit and life. That is, they give life to certain things. They give spirit and life, or they give animation to the actual thought and the idea. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. And then we take the corresponding action, because we understand that faith without works is dead. It leaves the idea dormant in the mind. The creation never comes to manifestation because there is not a corresponding action. But when we act upon that which we have envisioned and spoken, then all of the elements and all of the parts of the universe come together collectively to begin to attract to us like a magnet and pull together the elements and particles that are necessary to bring about the full manifestation that is a tangible reality of what it is that we have already created within our mind. So what is created within the mind now comes to form in manifestation. And that we create from the most dominant thought in our mind. What is the dominant or superior thought in our mind is the energy from which we create. And so then now the universe becomes our big giant copy machine that takes what we release into it and then multiplies it back to us, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. But it is also our giant mirror, in that the universe only brings back to us and reflects to us that which has been our dominant thought or our superior thought, our intent, our modus operandi, or what has been created within our conscious mind. So if you don't like the things that keep reappearing in your life, it is not an external attack. We are not victims of circumstances, situations, encounters, or relationships. but that we are the creators. And so if it is coming up and it keeps appearing and it's not what you really desire, then you don't look outward, but we look inward, and we are transformed by the recalibrating, the renewing, the reconstructing of our mind. And when we change our inner thoughts, we change what is the dominant thoughts, superior thoughts of our mind. We then immediately begin to change our environment around us, and the universe has no choice but to reflect back to us that which is the superior or dominant thought of our mind. It is the reason that First Peter, he tells us to gird up the very loins of our mind, that is, the creative forces of our mind, to guard them, to solidify them, to protect them, to fortify them, because out of it, the mind, the consciousness, is the incubator of creation. And so he says, make sure that you protect your mind and that you are sober. That is, that you rid your conscious mind of any outside intoxicants that has polluted it and causing, therefore, things to form as a dominant thought that you don't want to be there. Because the universe will always reflect back to you. Your outer world of form and experience is going to be a reflection of your inner world of thought and feeling. That's the first law. And then now we have been looking at this second law, and that is that the greater your awareness of the presence of God within you, the more the presence begins to fill your consciousness. And we have been understanding this from the aspect, or from the perspective, that the more we become aware of our oneness with God, that is the presence of God within us, God not only in us, through us, but as us, the more that presence fills our consciousness and begins to inform the way that we think. The more we are aware that we are not just a cosmic accident, but that we are the intentional birthing out of God that has come into this three-dimensional form filled with potential possibilities and power, the more we begin to change how we think, and we begin to think more in alignment with our own divinity, that is the spirit that we are. The only thing that keeps the soul from fully expressing and experiencing itself as God in the earth is the illusion of separation. It is through the illusion of separation that all of the dysfunction that exists in humanity is fueled. I'll say it again. It is through the illusion and delusion of separation, that is somehow that we are somehow victims of circumstances and God sits apart and detached from us. That is and that we are somehow detached and apart from each other and from nature and from the universe. It is the fuel that lights the fire under all of the dysfunctions of humanity. That if we were really conscious of our oneness with God, and thereby our oneness with each other, and our oneness with nature and the universe around us and all things that are, it would change the way that we perceive and the way that we act and the way that we speak and the way that we carry ourselves. It's much harder for you to be outwardly malicious, mean, angry, when you recognize that when I am being that way toward any person, I am actually attacking another version of myself. We've understood that we all emanate or have our genesis from God. We began as a thought, an idea, a concept, a logos in the mind of God. and have now been released, yes, at the predestined moment that we agreed to in our pre-incarnate state before the foundations of the world, to come into this three-dimensional plane that we call Earth. And we came here fully cognizant and knowing that this was our purpose and intent. But immediately upon conception, our consciousness, soul, began to be written upon and bombarded with bad information and influences of culture, environment, surroundings, and religion, experiences, traumas that began to try and drown out, and really did drown out, the sound of our authentic voice and cause us to forget who we really are and forget why we were placed here and agreed to come at the moment that we have. And therefore, consequently, we began to be convinced by culture, environment, but tonight I want to focus on, most of all, religion, that we are somehow separated from God. I began a conversation this morning that just through posts that has gotten a little bit sticky and made a few people a little uncomfortable because of the illusion of separation. This idea that religion has propagated, this rhetoric that has been a part of the religious culture, and it's not, and as I've said before, this is not just aimed at Christianity. Christianity just happens to be the religion that I am most familiar with because I was raised in Christianity, but I am familiar with the other religions of the world as well. But I don't know any of them half as well as I know Christianity because I was raised in it. It is my culture. It is my environment. It is my background, my history. And I do know that in this religion, as well as all others, there is the rhetoric and propaganda of separation that is propagated by every part and every portion of the religion. It is indeed what undergirds the religion and most of its significant ideologies or beliefs. The idea that somehow God sits high and looks low, that God is over here and not here, that God is somehow detached and separated, but coming to the rescue, swooping down from a chariot and gonna let us ride, coming in like Prince Charming in the midst of the night that rescues us from the castle, the one that comes in with a sword, shield, and buckler and fights our battles for us, the one who has put us on the supernatural spiritual welfare program and then make sure that it supplies and provides all the things that we need if we just simply follow a set of regimented rules, legalisms, and dogmas, and most of all that we are submitted to those who have been now placed in a position of authority and power over us, that gives them the ability to both manipulate and control and move you around as marionettes and puppets and robots, controlling your movements, your thoughts. And we follow this list of rules, regulations, and dogmas and legalisms, careful not to ever step on the crack because you break your mama's back, you know. Don't step off the line because then you're going to be lost and left behind, that you got to get right or you're going to get left, that you got to make sure that your anchor holds and grips the solid rock, because if you are not a part of this exclusive club, whether it's Christianity or Islam or Buddhism or Hinduism or whatever religious practice it is, then you are eternally lost because God somehow is partial to one particular religion. Poppycock. And every religion has innately ingrained within it the idea of sin or error. Every one of them have ingrained within it this wrestle against good and evil, light and darkness, and then promotes the idea that we are all created completely dark or sinful or ungodly and somehow separated from God. And then through the works of one particular person who is our knight in shining armor, whether that is Jesus, Muhammad, or Krishna, they come now and they swoop in and do the necessary work for us to now reunite us with God, but God still not completely united, because they stand as the go-between, the arbiter, the conduit through which we are able to commune and communicate with God and be accepted by God. And that without them being there, the God that really, that they say in one breath loves us unconditionally, yet in the next breath says he really don't like you very much, it's only because of the blood of that one person that stands in between you and him, that he doesn't destroy you, and that without that he would kill you on sight, because even though you are the image and the likeness of it, it doesn't like you. And I know it sounds a bit crazy when it's put in that term, but that's exactly what is being taught through the illusion of separation. That somehow, because we are separate from him, we can only be connected to God if we have this person standing there advocating on our behalf. And if they ever should happen to fall off, fall asleep, or forget, or just change their mind, then we are all lost. And that if you don't believe in that particular person, whether that is Jesus or Allah, Buddha or Krishna or Muhammad, then you are eternally lost, and God is going to cut you off, and you are going to suffer not only in this life, but in every life that or in the afterlife, if you believe in that. And you're going to suffer not for a little while, not for a minute, but for what they call infinity or eternity, and it will never end. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the delusion and the illusion of separation. That is the delusion and the illusion of separation. That is the blindness that the world system, that is society, has inflicted upon all humanity with the help of religion, as well as society and culture and environment and trauma and experiences. All of these things now have come together to create a nexus of confusion and darkness that is afflicted upon all humanity, to make every one of us think that there is something wrong with us, that we are born wrong, that we are born dysfunctional, broken, lost. And so we meander around in this darkness for the majority of our life until we have a divine encounter with a particular group or a particular club that then purports to enlighten us and say that if you embrace this particular religious ideology, then your eyes will become open. But ladies and gentlemen, please understand that true salvation, and I had this conversation earlier and I want to make sure that I have it with you. True salvation is not reconnecting, but it is making you aware of your connection and your divinity, your isness or existence as God in the flesh. It is making you aware of that, where before you had been unconscious of it, to make you know that you have always been connected with God, because you are God manifested and uniquely expressed and experiencing itself in the flesh. If this good news, and this is indeed the good news of the kingdom, The gospel, the good news, is not what others have ascribed it to be, but the real good news, and I can't think of a news that is better, is that you are not at odds with God and God is not at odds with you. That God is decidedly, inextricably for you because God cannot deny itself. And you are the divine image and likeness of God. You are all that God is. And so when God looks at you, it sees itself. And when you look at you, you should see God. It is the salvation that is soteria, being rescued from the impending doom. The doom is to continue to live the remainder of your life, of this lived experience, meandering in the darkness, thinking, pleading, begging as a servant, as a beggar, for a malevolent spirit or superior being to please to have mercy on me, please want me, please accept me, please love me, please don't cut me off, please don't be done with me. But the good news is that no, I am one with that source, one with that superior, supreme being. I am one with it, and it is one with me. There is no separation. When I become consciously aware of that, it frees me from that impending doom, that dungeon, that scary place where I walked in not the fear as in the reverence of God, but in the fear as in afraid of what God's going to do to me if I don't keep all the rules and I don't do all the things that this particular religious ideology has told me that I must do. The real good news comes is when you recognize that God is not angry at you because it is not angry at itself. Because when it looks at you, it sees a divine image, a reflection, a unique expression of itself, now living and experiencing, consciously experiencing itself as being human. And that is all that it has ever desired, is to have multiple experiences of itself as being human. Therefore, all of humanity, that is all that has been, are, and ever shall be, are a unique now expression and experience of God, consciously aware of itself being human, and thereby God now has the opportunity and pleasure of knowing itself and in multitudes, cajillions of forms, because it implants itself, imposes, and expresses itself through each of them. And the more that you become consciously aware that of your oneness with God, it eradicates the victim mentality that life is happening to you. And you begin to understand that everything is happening for you and through you and because of you. Because you are the Elohim, the progenitor, the creator of your lived experience, and that you are omni-actively creating it every moment and millisecond that passes in your life. It restores you now to the place of dominance, that is, that you live in dominion and now subdue the earth as was first commanded or given us the right, the authority, the power, and the privilege to do. It is hard to subdue something, to rule and to reign and walk in dominion over something when you are constantly in a state of fear or insecurity because you believe that at any moment you could be cut off, separated from the same God that has given you the authority. He now, in a fit of rage, anger, vengeance, grievance, decides to remove it from you, and then you are left now with nothing. And the idea that God now could be separated from you or I is ludicrous on its face, because one of the essences of divinity is omnipresence. That is, there is no place that God is not. So if God now were separate from you or I, then there would be places God is not. God's spirit doesn't live in you. Well, then how am I living? Because there is only one spirit, and that spirit is the spirit that sustains all life. And without that spirit's presence, then life ceases. So God then, in order, as long as I am still here breathing and sucking up air, animated and moving, a living, breathing form that is actively moving and expressing in the earth, then God is not only in me, but God is moving through me and as me. Because the same spirit that has raised up Jesus from the dead is the same spirit that animates or quickens or makes alive the three-dimensional bodily form that we now take and we are living and experiencing life as. So understand the whole idea of separation is ludicrous on its face. You are not separate from God, and God is not separate from you. So then what then of the idea of sin? Doesn't sin separate you from God? Again, if anything had the ability or the power or authority to create a separation, then it would mean God is not omnipresent. The only separation that can exist is the separation that is created within the mind, that is an illusion. And then you are not truly separated. You just happen to think and believe that you are separated, and therefore you act as someone who is separated, even though that separation is an illusion. And the greatest sin that has been perpetrated upon mankind, ladies and gentlemen, is the sin of thinking that you are separated from God. Or I know I just made some church folk and religious folk very mad at me right there, but I'm going to say it again. The greatest sin ever perpetrated and hoisted upon mankind is the sin of the lie that you are somehow separated from God, and that now somehow you are meandering around and existing animated in this earth without God being in you. Paul tries to clue us in about this when he writes and pens in Romans, what can separate me, or who can separate me from the love that is God? It is not a declaration of Paul's determination to remain connected to God, yet in fact it is an expression of Paul's understanding of our oneness with God. And so he says, who, what is it, and who is it that can create a separation between God and I? Shall peril or sword or nakedness, height or depth or principality? Can anything create separation? And then he answers his own question by saying, no, in all of these things we are more than conquerors. In other words, he's saying that all of these things, no matter what they are, can have the ability, and he gives us a list that is not exhaustive, but just trying to give us the point that there is nothing that can create separation between God and us, because we are the expression of it, and God will not deny itself. Are you understanding what I'm saying to you? And when you understand that you are all that God is and God is all that you are and that there is no separation, then it begins to now recalibrate the way that you think and perceive and understand and view things, because now you view them through the lens of this singular truth: God and I are one. That I am not subject to the things that are happening and that are moving around me, but in fact, those things are subject to me because I and God are one. I'm one with the creator of all things. All things emanate from God, therefore all things flow through me, and I am interconnected and woven to every divine expression of God in the earth. That is, every human, every spirit consciously aware of itself as being human. I am interconnected with them because we are part of one singular source, that is God, the Spirit, one Spirit. Oh my goodness, by one Spirit are we all baptized into the body of Christ. That is that is the poetic language of King James. The normal general language would be, by one Spirit are we all immersed or interconnected and interwoven into that one Spirit. That we are all one divine expression, and therefore, because we are all an expression of the one, then we are not only one with God, but we are one with each other. And that because everything has its genesis with that one source, that is all of nature, all of the trees, the birds, the animals, the wildlife, the air, the stars, the moon, the atmosphere, the planets, all emanate from God. Then I, as a divine expression of God, am now one with the planetary system, the moon, the stars, the waters, the trees, the nature, the universe around me. But they are not a divine spirit, they are a reflection of spirit. But we as a divine spirit, because we are the likeness and the image of God. And so we now are given charge and responsibility to rule and have dominion over all of these other expressions and rather reflections of God. We now are given charge and authority to walk in dominion and subdue them. And when you begin to think, or you become consciously aware, that is, the greater your awareness of your oneness of God, the presence of God in you, through you, and as you, the more you begin to rethink and recalibrate, reconstruct how you view nature, because now you understand it is not just something that you run into, but it is something that you are responsible for. That is subject to you, and that you rule in authority and dominion over, but that you have a responsibility to care for. You were put into this garden to dress it and to care for it. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And when you understand your oneness with God, you understand how the planets and the stars can have an effect on you, because they are tied into you, because you now have dominion over them. And so those who have the issue with the zodiac and the study of the planets and the stars, Oh my goodness, yes, are misguided by the warped theory of particular religions who have created the illusion of separation. And so they began to try and make you think that there is something evil, wicked, or demonic about your now having an understanding of how you are interconnected with the planets, the moon, the stars, the waters, the trees, and all of the universe around you. But ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing ungodly, deadly, or demonic or devilish about it. It is the reality of your being. And when you have a conscious understanding of God in you, through you, and as you understand that all of the world, which includes the planets, the stars, the moons, the universe, all consist within God is the one that holds it all together. Why? In the name of common sense, with God now put in place the stars, the moon, and all the galaxies around us, and then say, we're going to have these bodies over you, floating above your head, beyond your atmosphere and stratosphere in the area that's called space. But I'm going to make sure that it is filled with demonic activity and set it over you, so that when you look at it, you are receiving light from the demonic sun and the demonic moon. How ridiculous and asinine is that? No, it was put in place to serve us. And it's because it is interconnected with us. It has both an effect and impact on us as we have an impact upon it. Are y'all understanding what I'm saying? And so when the moon is full, the tides change in the nature. The waters begin to go up, and when the moon begins to go into its crescent phase, the tide goes out. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you and I are 70% water. So if it affects the waters of the sea, what makes you think that it doesn't affect the waters of your being? Mercy. And if you continue to live in ignorance of your oneness of it, then you put yourself in the position of being a victim rather than walking conscious of your oneness with God, therefore oneness with nature, and giving you then the opportunity to exercise authority that is channeled that energy and movement into a vein that will serve you. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying to you tonight? It is the illusion of separation that has put us in a position of limitation and caused us to begin to live on the exterior perimeter of our real divinity and not be able to experience life to its fullness. Every expression of God that is accurately recorded within every sacred text, from the Bible to the Quran to the Bhagavad Gita, all of them give this testimony or this particular inference that God's intent is for us as it to experience life to its fullest degree. I told you before that the thing that the soul resists more than anything is limitation, because its desire is to experience life to its fullest. I am, that is the I am, is come, that you might have the opportunity and the possibility to experience life and experience it overflowing and abundantly. That is, that you are able now to have as many lived experiences as you can possibly muster into one iteration of your being. And so Paul again gets a insight of this, and so in 1 Thessalonians he gives 7 principles, and one of them is that you should prove, test, or try everything, and then hold fast to the things that are good or that serve you. He is essentially saying, stop limiting yourself to the regiments and the rules, regulations, and dogmas of a culture, a community, an environment, or religion, and free yourself to experience everything that is possible for you to experience, and then the things that serve you, that you like, do it again. Keep doing it, hold on to it. And the things that don't, because there are some that won't, then you are able to dismiss those. But do not live your life inside of some superimposed box that is an illusion created by religion, culture, or society to tell you that this is or is not acceptable. How dare anyone have the unmitigated gall and audacity to try and determine what is good and pleasing to God, as if you now are the arbiter of what God thinks and God finds acceptable, as if the mind of God could be contained within the pages of a canonized book that is not even complete with all of the texts that were written during the time. How dare you begin to think that you could now contain the limitless, infinite God inside of the canons of a book? My God, no. No. You have misunderstood, misconstrued, misappropriated the value and the purpose of the book, which is put there to give you principles, patterns, and practices that you now employ in your discovery of your own divinity and your experience as God in the flesh. And so Christ then is the ensample and example of what divinity in three-dimensional form looks like. And then he turns on every opportunity he has and says, don't you marvel at what you see me doing and how I'm living, because what I can do, you can do also. And you find written in every sacred text by every ascended master that is featured in the text, the same expression. Muhammad says to his followers, what I'm doing is an example of the authority and power that's given to you. Krishna says in the Gita that what you have seen expressed in me is innately woven into your being. I'm telling you that all of them have been sent as an ensample, and in fact they are all the same, but that's a whole nother conversation, to give us a clue of our own divinity and oneness with God. And the greater your awareness of this oneness that is the presence of God within you, the more that presence begins to fill out the spaces of your conscious mind and push out the garbage and push out the pollutants and the intoxicants of limitation, of low self-esteem, of feeling like you are less than, unworthy, that you are somehow some filthy, dirty worm, and on in the muck and the mire and the chains of hell on your hands and shackles of damnation on your feet. No, it begins to push out all of the disinformation and allows the light of the glorious good news to invade every corner, crack, and crevice of your consciousness until you begin to decry, I am that I am. I am, thank God, that I am. I am that I am. Are you hearing me? Now the flip side, and I'm overtime already, good gracious. How in the world, where did the time go? I was about to get to the flip side and just looked at the time. Good gracious. Can y'all give me just a little bit longer? Can I just take a few more minutes? I know I'm over time. Can I just take a few more minutes? Because we're going to move to the next law in the next lesson. So I need to finish this. So I need to give you the flip side. Can I give you the flip side? Y'all talk to me. Don't leave me hanging now. I don't want to just be talking to a camera and nobody's out there. I'm checking the comments. Okay. I see a couple of you saying yes. That ain't everybody. So some of y'all like, y'all know, bro, you've been talking long enough. I just want to give you a quick flip side. I want to just give you the other side of it. The other side, ladies and gentlemen, and I promise I'll be quick. The other side is that because you are divinity in jeans and a t-shirt, you are divinity in a skirt and a blouse and high heels, you're divinity in a suit and tie, because you are God expressed in a three-dimensional form, and you have the omni-active creatorial power of God emanating and resonating within you at all times, calculating, curating, and creating every moment that you live in. Because you are such a powerful spirit being, you can create a reality that's based on an illusion. Did y'all hear what I just said? I said you can create a reality that is based on an illusion. It is the reason that the scriptures tell us to know, to be intimately acquainted with truth, because that truth makes you free. It frees you from the illusion and delusion. Because when you are not acquainted with truth, when you do not embrace, seek out, and encounter truth, you then live in the bondage of the illusion, but it is an illusion and delusion of your own creation. That whatever you hold as your truth, as your dominant thought, your idea, your belief, even if it's not real, it will manifest in your life and you will be convinced of its reality because you are seeing images of it, but those images are delusion. Oh, they are the outsourcing, a three-dimensional holographic expression or experience of a idea that you have created within your own psyche, mind, consciousness. And because the energy vibrating from your thoughts inform your words and deeds, and the process of creation is without a break and impersonal. That is, it's going to create whatever it is that you desire. It's going to manifest, rather, whatever it is that you have created and that has become your desire. Then you will encounter a holographic form, a manifestation of the thing that you have accepted as your truth. This is the place where a number of people have parted ways with me, gotten upset with me, or just said, okay, I like you, but the whole idea that, you keep telling me demons are a figment of my imagination, and I keep reading about all these demons, but you read about them in one place, in the New Testament. You are caught in a semantic stumble. Because listen, are you telling me that Moses, Elijah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Elisha, Isaiah, Jeremiah, all of these powerful characters of the Old Testament never encountered a demon or a devil, never had so much as a peep of them, that they would record activities of them in their writings? Yet in all of their writings and all of their encounters and all of their adversities, it was an Amalekite, Hittite, Jebusite, but it wasn't a demon, a devil, a spirit, a hank, or y'all ain't saying nothing. And that these words, the terminology does not really come into use until you get over into the New Testament and the language shifts. And now with the use of a different language, there is a different terminology that is not used in the Old Testament. Are you telling me then that now demons and devils and spirits were just on vacation all of those thousands of years, and then at the onset of the beginning of the New Testament they decided to pop up and become visible and have been active ever since? Or is it more appropriate to understand that the terminology that is used in the New Testament is allegorical, like we use in our verbiage today when we say that someone has a monkey on his back? We don't mean that they literally walk around with a chimpanzee attached to their back. What we mean is that some mindset that has created an addiction is now grabbed a hold of their consciousness and won't let them go. And so likewise, when the terminology demon or devil is spoken of in the New Testament, it speaks of a mindset, a consciousness that is adverse to the mind of God, that has gotten a hold of them and now created a behavior that is antithetical to their divinity. And so they spit or roll in the fire or act insane or crazy. But then when they are confronted with a truth, Lord have mercy, yes, then they are said to have been cast out or away, and the person now is free. You shall know the truth, and that truth makes you free. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying to you? But if you hold the idea of actual entities running around, little spirits and dark creatures and shadows then if that is what you hold as your truth or belief, because of how powerful you are as a creator, then you will have manifestations of these entities running around. You will see them. You will experience them. You will sense them and feel them because you have created them. But the moment you shift your mind and you cease to believe in their existence because you have had an encounter with truth, that truth will free you from it, and you will never see or experience them again. And if you think I'm lying and I'm wrong, try it. What do you have to lose except the demons that you've been running and fighting with? If I'm wrong and you're right, then you just keep on wrestling with them same demons you've been fighting. But if I'm right, then you're freed from that struggle and that fight and that wrestle. I dare you. I dare you. Put on this garment of truth and watch how it changes your life. Watch how the struggle ends. Watch how quickly they vanish. Huh? You only have what you say. You only manifest what you believe. You only encounter what you create. Your outer world of form and experience is just a reflection of your inner world of thought and feeling. You see and experience it because you believed it, and so you created it. What you got to lose? Prove me. Now herewith, test and see if it's true. What you got to lose? Huh? Now you can be free from having to wrestle and fight with these things, or you can keep being Scooby-Doo, Ghostbusters, chasing spirits. What you gonna call? Ghostbusters. I'm sorry. That was mean. I shouldn't have said it like that. That was funny though. Scooby-Doo. You notice every time they finally pulled the mask off the thing, it turned out just to be another human. And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for these meddling kids. You've been chasing Mr. Radberry with a mask on. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's the flip side. Oh goodness, that tickles me. Oh, okay. Ooh. I'm telling you, that's how powerful you are. Wake up in the morning and start saying, I don't feel well. I'm sick. I don't feel well. I don't feel well. My back hurt. My back hurt. My back hurt. Guess what? Your back will start hurting. Is the pain real? Well, it's real to you because you created it. And it'll leave the moment you say, it's no longer there. I know I don't believe this. I don't receive that. That's not what's happening. I feel great. I feel wonderful. I am doing great. I'm healthy. You're a creator. That's how powerful you are. You are one with God. God is one with you. And the more aware you become of the presence of God within you, the more that presence will fill every part of your consciousness. Woo. All right. I'm going to stop. If you have any questions at all, put it in the comments right now. I'm getting ready to check the comments. I will answer any question on any subject. Doesn't matter what it is. All you have to do is ask. And I am more than happy to answer. Okay. That's good. She said, but when people encountered demons, weren't they inside of someone and not walking around alone? Exactly. Even more proof of the idea that this was a particular mindset that the person had been captivated by, and that created a particular behavior or created a particular ailment. And like I said, do you know you can think yourself sick? You can think yourself lame. You can think yourself blind, that your body will conform to whatever it is. As a man thinketh, so is he. That's really good. That's really good. That's really good. Let me see. Any other questions? I'm looking for questions. I don't see any more in here. Now let's see. Says so. From the government of truth, this happens. Okay. I don't see any other questions. So, in other words, wicked can't stand alone unless it has something to lean on. Exactly. Exactly. Well, it needs a host. Okay. And the host is the consciousness or the mind of the person who decides to embrace it. You have what you think. What you think about, you bring about. What you believe and receive, you shall have. What you give attention to, you give intention to. Okay? So, those evil, wicked manifestations, they need a host. They need a vehicle. They can't exist unless you create them. That's good. That's good. Okay? All right. Thank you again for tuning in. Listen, I need, for those of you who are partners, as well as those who just may be watching and you want to contribute and help this ministry or this movement to begin to expand and grow. We're trying to increase the platform and do some marketing and other things of that sort. We need for you to be givers. So I want to encourage those of you who are watching tonight, if you were empowered, and I believe that you were about what you heard tonight, to be a giver, to make the exchange. And so tonight you can do so by any of the means that are on your screen right now. You can use Cashapp, Zelle, or PayPal. And you are able to give your offering or give a seed, or you are able to return the tithe. Those of you who are partners, you know that we embrace the principle of tithing. You can return your tithe by using any of the means that are available on your screen. We embrace the principle of tithing as that, a principle, not a law, not a commandment. You ain't going to lose everything. You ain't going to be cursed if you're not a tither and all that kind of craziness. But it is a spiritual practice and principle that we use in concert with the laws of increase and abundance and of sowing and reaping, circulation and compensation. So if you are a partner, we encourage you to return the tithe, to give, to sow. If you are just tuning in, please, you have the opportunity to do so as well. We're trying to build a platform that will impact the entire world. And I need your help to do it. I need your help to do it. All right. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I'm doing pretty good because the music hadn't started playing. Well, there it is now. Hadn't started playing. But thank you so very much for tuning in and for being with us tonight. We'll be back on Sunday night at 7 p.m. for Sunday Night Empowerment. I hope that I see you there. If you really like to become a part of the movement, then do as I said at the top of the broadcast. make sure you shoot me an email to emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com and just simply say, I want in. I will quickly send you out an information packet with all of the information and in-depth insight to the vision and the mission of this particular movement, as well as the things that are necessary to become a partner. Once you've read over it and you're in agreement, you simply sign the partnership agreement and email it back to me, and you are in. And you have become a part of this virtual spiritual community in the most powerful place on the planet. So I encourage you to do that tonight, right now. I'm going to be checking the email in just a few minutes. I hope I see an email from you. Until I see you on Sunday night, I pray that tomorrow you wake up and have the most stupendous, fantastic, phenomenal, splendiferous day that you could possibly have. Have a great night, and tomorrow have the best day ever. Not cutting, but untying. And so the universe then has no choice. First attribute of the secret place. The secret place is a place of revelation. It makes you free because it awakens you and makes you consciously aware that everything that you thought was holding you is an illusion.
Thank you for tuning in. And be sure to catch us every Sunday at 7 p.m. for empowerment.
That we are a unique expression.
Every Thursday at 7 p.m. for momentum.
The creation of God and the God who created him.
Once again, be sure to follow us on all social media platforms. And we'll see you next time.